Hi, this is Kara. So I have been watching YouTube videos a lot, and one day I got into this video which shows one type of pen that I seem to have never tried before, which is called gouache. So this is I really like the effect it creates on the videos. It seems to be more opaque than watercolor, and it creates sort of a matte finish afterward, so it looks really cool. I bought it from Amazon and I wanted to try this out. So I think this is from Arteza. I'm not sure I pronounced it correctly. Yeah, and this is not really expensive, so I think it's a great chance to try it out. For people watching my video for the first time, this is Kara. I'm not a professional artist, but I like drawing and painting a lot, so I spend almost all my spare time doing paintings, and I would like to show you guys how to enjoy sketching and painting without being a professional artist. So I did some draft on my sketchbook. The main reason I do this is because first I want to try out my idea with less expensive papers, because I don't always have nice sketches at the first time, so it is actually safer to use cheaper papers first. So the first step, when I get my new pen, I'm trying out some of the colors I'm mostly interested in using in today's video. So I think they look pretty nice, and it seems to be a little thick compared with watercolors, and the color is kind of more creamy, I would say. This is basically not the final one I'm going to draw on. I'm just simply trying out the colors, and I can feel that it is sort of different from watercolor in the sense like the mixing process takes more effort. So this is simply by trying out the mixing process. I'm not gonna use so dark a color to paint the skin. So this is just to show you guys what it feels to use this. As you can see, it is kind of opaque, and it is kind of less wet compared with watercolors. You can mix it with less water, and it will have less damage to papers in some sense. Okay, so now I sort of get a general idea of what the pen actually looks like. We'll see more details later when I'm actually working on the final drawing. But now I will be doing some sketch on the final watercolor paper that I want to paint my drawings on. So I have always skipped this step because I think people may not be interested in watching it, but I do receive some questions about how to actually make the drawing work from sketch. So here I'm showing some of the process. There are some tips about sketch. For example, for drawing people, I usually start with a circle, and then kind of carve out the shape of the face, the area of the eyes, to make it more symmetric. And also it helped me understand the 3D effect on the 2D paper. One thing I do feel that can help you improve the sketch a lot is by doing some random sketch kind of every day. You don't need to spend a lot of time. I'm pretty busy working but I usually spend 10 to 20 minutes to sketch something that I'm interested in on that day, and eventually you get more familiar with the process and just get better and faster at sketches. I think one thing important about sketch is that that's the foundation of your painting. If you don't have a very nice sketch, the things you paint will be not so well structured and it won't look that good, even though you may have a good grasp of the tools of your paint, of the colors. You still may lose some of the aspect from the picture. Another tip here is to draw really lightly for the initial structure of the items you want to put into the picture. So this is to make sure you can easily change that, because if you draw really dark, then it is harder to kind of erase the lines. Once everything is already in its right position, you can start with cleaner and darker lines around the edges. So see, this is kind of the finished sketch. It is definitely better than what is on my sketchbook, because I spent way more time on this sketch. So the original draft took me only like, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, but this one took half an hour also. Alright, now that we start with the painting process where we are applying this gouache paint, I'm a little nervous now because I'm really happy with the sketch. I think the sketch was very clean and neat, and everything is exactly as the position I want it to be. So I'm really worried that the painting process will actually ruin the work. And based on my like trial with the paint, I know I need to add more water when I'm trying to paint the skin, so that I have better control of the darkness. For all these water-based paints, I always have the advice of like start from light to dark, and this is crucial. This is the rule of thumb, basically, especially for non-professionals. When you're not very confident on that the first layer of color you apply would be the final layer, you probably want to keep correcting the tones and make it more and more sophisticated as you paint. One thing interesting about this gouache painting is that when you add color to the second layer with water, it will partially activate the underlying layer a little bit. So basically, it is harder to create those kinds of glazing effect as in watercolor, but you can basically correct your error more easily. You can basically keep darkening or whitening the colors, and it is slightly opaque, and could be very opaque if you don't add enough water to it. Since English is not my first language, I don't really feel surprised when I have never heard of this word gouache before. So I actually look up in the dictionary and check the translation to Chinese, and it turns out the translation is some paint that actually, when I was in elementary school, every student was asked to purchase basically for the art class at school. So I'm kind of lying that I have never tried out this gouache paint. It is just like I have never used it. after graduating from elementary school. I think this pen is really easy to operate on. The color will darken a little bit after it dries out, but it doesn't really bother me that much. I'm using a very detailed brush for the eyes and eyebrow and lips, because it's how you can make this painting process more detailed. You can use other medium like color pencils to achieve similar effect as well. If you're interested in how I did that, you can refer back to the my previous videos. Yeah, you can see when I add a lot of water, the brown really feels like just watercolor, but it kind of have more saturations to the color in some sense. So I think it's really versatile and easy to operate on. You basically can use it as if it's watercolor or as if it's acrylic to some extent. With the face painted out, I'm kind of like 90% sure that I won't be ruining this sketch that much. That's why I always started with the hardest components in my drawing so that I won't waste too much time on basically a piece of work that I will not be able to save after making a very huge mistake. So the light part is always the hard part for me, and I didn't really draw out of my head. I do have references, so this is my baby's picture as a reference. I didn't draw exactly the same as she looked like, because I think that's important to draw the picture, the creation from your head, the images from your head, instead of exactly follow what you see. You can use Mother Nature as kind of inspiration or reference, but what eventually you want to draw is a story, is an image from your head, and that's the fun part of drawing. Yes, the baby I draw does not look exactly like the photos I show, but the photos I show also do not really represent my baby in my heart. So I'm just drawing out the feeling my baby is giving to me. So for me, she's like very cute and innocent. So those really cute and innocent people deserve bigger eyes and cuter faces, chubby faces, and stuff like that. So to me, this picture is a better depict of what kind of feeling she's giving me. So those kinds of innocent eyes and those stubborn way of holding her balls and stuff. I think that's really, really cute. And I also believe that's the magic of drawing. You can basically draw things, draw images from your head, and draw the feelings that you have in some sense, and convert that into images. And that's also one of the reasons I enjoy drawing so much. In my world, I hope my room is less cluttered, so I draw less stuff in the background. I think this is also a way to kind of help you pop out the main character you want to depict. Here is the baby. Maybe it's because gouache is opaque. It takes slightly more effort to mix the colors in a more uniform way. So if you don't kind of stir the color enough, you'll be instead of mixing the color together, you will see multiple colors when you're kind of drawing on the paper. So you need to spend more time, like kind of mix colors together. But watercolor, I think maybe it's because it's lighter. Just some light strike and stir would mix the color very uniformly for watercolor. Yeah, we're close to some final touch-up. I'm just kind of make some like areas darker to kind of help the character pop, and adding shadows and darkness, and just make the image look more detailed. If you have watched my previous videos, you probably have noticed that this one is kind of differently done. I didn't really run through the edges using some waterproof pen before this the paint, but still, I think it doesn't hurt to accentuate some areas with a pen afterward. I won't be going through all the edges, but for some especially dark area, I still use the ink pen because that really has easy control over. Alright, it is finished. Let's take some nice pictures. Alright. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel, Kara's here, as well as my Facebook page. Stay tuned for next video.